Hi guys, we're back after a long hiatus with Gold Medal Mindset episode 3, and we're probably back with our biggest guest yet, as a name and general size. We've got Cammy back, and we're happy to be joined by the second strongest man in the world, literally, Tom Stoltman. Tom, how are you getting on?
Hey buddy, all right? I'm all good, and thanks for having me here. It's gonna be fun.
Due to lockdown and stuff, we started the podcast, but we had to come away from it just because, trying to run a gym at the minute, and then to just keep it going, it's pretty difficult. So we did want to come back with a bigger guest as possible, and it just happened to be you. How are you feeling at the minute during lockdown? What's been happening?
Yeah, well, because we're up in the Highlands, it's not. Glasgow, Edinburgh, the cities, it's a bit harder for you guys because obviously in the city there's not really we're in the country, so we've got walks, beaches on our doorstep. We can do hot and cold, as you can probably see on Instagram, with a difference. So I'm just doing a lot of walking with the dogs, but more kind of going to the beach with them. Walks that I don't really go to, and with the missus as well. And then just, it's kind of normal for me. All I do really in day-to-day life is train, eat and sleep. And maybe go out for a meal here and there as well, but obviously can't do that. But apart from that, it's basically normal. Up here, like we said, we're quite lucky with the countryside and stuff that we do kind of get out and can kind of see people. So it's not too bad. So.
See, we're in a concrete jungle, so it's definitely not as good up here. Cammy, do you want to get started?
Tom, you've got your own gym, so you've been able to train as much as you want.
Yeah, we've got the Stoltman Strength Centre up here in the Highlands, so obviously because we're elite athletes, myself and my brother, we can train throughout the whole lockdown, which has been a blessing, because if I didn't have the gym, then Jesus, man. I don't know what I'd be doing. But nah, it's good because our first comp of this year is going to Bahrain, which is literally the 27th of February, so...
Oh, nice.
And we get we've not travelled since Worlds in October, so it'll be nice to get out of the country and get, see other athletes again as well. So it'll be nice. I'm just looking forward to the sun, to be honest with you. Actually get to the restaurant, get a few drinks after the comp as well. It's back to normality for a wee bit as well. So
that's good. You're back to competing. Like me and Cammy, I think we both competed maybe once last year or twice, which is quite down for us. So I think we did our first competition in March. So I think all athletes are just looking for a semblance of normality just to get back for any sort of competition again.
Yeah, 100%. Even training just now I'm just enjoying training because I've got actually something to look forward to this year. Usually February, March is our quiet months in strongman. So to we were meant to compete in January at Britain's, but again, that's been all put back till April. So to have something to look forward to in February, it's kind of boosted us in training, boosted us kind of to stay to our routine and everything over Christmas and stuff. So it's been good,
So I think that's the hardest thing, isn't it? Just trying to keep a routine. I found after we didn't do any on the mat wrestling really. During maybe the first 2 months of the first lockdown, then we started training, and when we first started training, it was good to get back into it. But see, when you've not got any competitions coming up, it's kind of just hard to keep that your motivation. You're training, but you've just not got the same focus as if you've got something coming up.
Yeah, that's exactly after World's Strongest Man. Obviously, that was the last comp of the year, and we didn't know what was happening in 2021. So my coaches were just have some fun for 6 weeks, and I was like, oh my God, So I actually did. I kind of just took the training down a notch. Lost a lot of weight. I lost 10k over Christmas. Just obviously we had that bit of freedom where you could go see some mates, have a few drinks. So I just did that. But then when I tried to get back into that comp and training mode, that was the hardest. The first 2-3 weeks of that was so hard. I was getting up at 10, 11 every morning instead of 7 or 8, and I wasn't getting back into a routine at all. But it's so being out of a routine was the first 6 weeks after Worlds was bad, but it's back now.
So Tom, growing up in the Highlands, what was it like? Did you do much sport, or what were you into when you were younger?
Yeah, so obviously, I've been football my whole life. Obviously, I'm a massive Rangers fan. I've been Rangers since I could walk. it was actually my big brother who got me into Rangers. He played football for county, and we were both just loved football. But yeah, up in the Highlands, it's like what every kind of boy does. It was either football or rugby, and all my family played rugby, but I wasn't really into. I mean, I was like the Peter Crouch of Scotland. I was like, I was like a stick. So yeah, football was kind of just my free time, after school, football, and then when I could go to some Rangers games. I mean, my dad took me to a few, but he was more the other side, so it was quite hard. But my whole family were the other side as well. But now it was just football up here. There's like football, rugby. That's all you could really do up here is football and rugby. But yeah, it was football my whole life till I was like 15, 16.
What position did you play, Tom? I can't imagine you being like a tricky winger now.
No, but I was probably centre back, left back. That was the two kind of positions I played.
See, like what height? You're 6'8", aren't you?
Yeah, 6'8". Yeah.
Were you big when you were younger?
Yeah. So when I was kind of primary school, maybe it was more when I was about 15, 16. I shot up. So when I went into second year, I shot up to about 6'4", 6'5". So yeah, through school I was big, but I was possibly 6'4", 6'5" in secondary school. So and then size 17 feet as well. So sorry, the dogs were mad.
There wouldn't have been many strikers messing with you anyway.
No, not back then. No. Especially not now either. But
Tom, when did you start lifting weights then? If you were playing football, like when did you get into weightlifting and strongman?
Yeah, so it was when my brother, obviously he's 10 years older than me, so he started when he was 27. I think it was right when I was 16. I stopped playing football and just football was kind of going downhill up here. Our kind of local clubs were kind of fading away and everything. So I didn't really have a sport and was kind of just playing the Xbox and all that, Call of Duty like the kids did. And then he just said to me, "Oh, come to the gym," and I did. But then girls and that were lifting more than me. Other guys were lifting more than me. Like these big guys look at themselves in the mirror grunting, like massive biceps. I was like, Jesus, like I can't. I'm not wanting to be in here, man. It's mad seeing birds deadlift like 140k and I'm here with 80k. I'm like, and then it was also the soreness as well. Like, you go to the gym and you wake up the next day, and I literally couldn't do like no schoolwork, couldn't do like in school I was going up the stairs, could hardly walk or nothing. So I actually did the gym I think for a month or two, then quit it, and I said to like my brother, I'm never ever going back. Like that is the last time I'll step foot in the gym. And then I think it was just then I went back in and I was a bit more confident and stuff, and kind of just my brother Luke just said to me, just kind of focus on you, and that's what I did. And he took me under his wing, and then it was when Luke did his first Scotland's Strongest Man. I was 18 at the time, 17, 18, and I seen him flip cars, lift logs. I was like, yeah, this is different than just going into the gym and doing dumbbells, which I had been doing previous. So we joined kind of a local gym 40 minutes from us, which you could do all that kind of stuff at. And then that's when I got hooked. I was like, well, I'm at this gym deadlifting cars, and this is a thing for me. So that's when I just started getting hooked and started, Luke started taking me under his wing, and that's when it kind of just excelled quickly. So
that's pretty cool. Like, did you watch much strongman when you were younger? Because like I think for a lot of people growing up, like it's kind of like a tradition. Like you'd have Channel 5 on, like watching World's Strongest Man at Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I watched the Mariusz Puszkanowski era and Dead at Poundstones and stuff, and that's who I wanted to be if I wanted to be a strongman. I didn't want to be like, well, not offensive now, but like the fat ones, like like I didn't want to. Like when I looked at them, you could see the guys that were in shape and that were out of shape, and like I didn't class like strongman kind of back then as a like kind of you had to be an athlete. It was kind of just like, oh, you could smoke, you could eat junk food, and you could just go and lift weights. I was like, Jesus, So, but yeah, I like the Mariusz Puszkanowskis and the Dead at Poundstones.
But that is a good point. Like, 'cause I can remember watching like the strongman when I was younger, and you're like, these guys aren't in great shape. Like, how are the athletes? Like,
yeah, I know it was. weird, but now, I mean, now I get, like, when I did my first competition, I think every single person had a six-pack, and I was like, geez, 6 years ago I was watching you guys, and you were all like, oh, I'm out of shape, and now you're shredded, man. It's like...
You were drinking a six-pack, now you've all got one.
Yeah, I know.
How long after you started training properly did you do your first competition then?
So I started training roughly 17, yeah, so it's probably about a year and a half. I entered Scotland's Strongest Man. I came fifth in my first competition in Scotland, and then that's when my first year then I qualified for UK, that's when I started going up against the likes of Eddie Hall, Graham Hicks, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of, I am quite good at this sport, you know, because back then all I wanted to do was kind of be good in Scotland and get my name on the map in Scotland and then see what happened from there. But to have such a kind of successful first year and then to kind of gradually get better in the Opens. I did like junior comps as well, but I just wanted to kind of put myself in the deep end and go against men and get experience against those guys, you know. You could, like, I was coming maybe 8th, 9th place, but I know that in 2-3 years' time, I'll be able to keep up with these guys. And yeah, so that's what I did. And so yeah, it was a year and a half into training.
Yeah. Nice, man, nice.
At what point, Tom, did you realise, like I can be next level at this? Like, obviously, like, when you start, you're kind of like, I can maybe do all right. But what was the point where you're like, do you know what? I can be one of the best in the world?
It was probably once I started kind of, I think it was in 2015 or 2016, I did this competition called the World's, it was like the Ultimate World Championships when all the big athletes come. And I was still kind of, I was still under 23, so I was like the junior level still. And I think there I came in the top 6, and that's when I won the Atlas Stones. And that was when, like, I was like, I just kind of be beating, like, I've just beaten big, like Sadruna Savickas, Lawrence Chalet, Eddie Hall. I've just beaten all these big athletes on Atlas Stones. I've beaten some of them in the competition. So, like, you know, I actually belong here and I can make a good go at this kind of strongman. And from there, that gave me confidence then to just boost off another gear. And it's kind of flying since then.
You're doing all right.
I'm all right.
Tom, how much of an influence has your brother been? Like, obviously, he was very successful as well.
Yeah, Luke's been a massive kind of influence. Obviously, he's the one that's kind of got me into the gym, kind of built my body up, built me mentally. As who I am today. He's always kind of had my back. I mean, if you watch Worlds at Christmas, you've seen him. He didn't do as well as me, but you could hear him on the TV. Like, he was the guy screaming, and it kind of, like, even when I was there in a moment, I don't hear anyone, but I could hear him, and I was like, Jesus, that's loud. So, like, just to have him as a support, you know, he's always wanted me to do well, and that's kind of just a massive advantage that I've got over, like, a lot of them when we're going to comps together. Like, he can shout at me, I can shout at him, and we've always got each other's back. So having Luke is kind of a massive bonus and always gives you that extra 10%, because, like, World's Strongest Man this year, nobody had anyone to go with him, but, like, Luke had me and I had him, so that was kind of a wee extra bonus we had. So
it must be great for just, like, having them to train with as well, like having somebody kind of that close to push you. Like, what's the competition like in the gym between? Does it get competitive?
Yeah, I mean, it gets more competitive in the gym than it does in the comps. It's just, I mean, Luke's right now the best in the world at log, and I'm the best at stone. So it's good to have someone that's like, he can, like, show me log techniques. I can show him stones. He's better at squats. You know, it's good because all our events were stronger, in different events. So we're always learning off each other every day. And like, if I don't want to go into the gym, he'll make sure, like, come on, you need to train the same with him. So we're never, like, we're always kind of making sure we're not missing meals. We're always on time in training. We always get through the workout. And yeah, having him training with you, it's mad, because he can, well, when you hear him roar at World's Strongest Man, when you hear him in training, like 10 seconds, like 10 meters from you, it's scary.
If that weight's going up, that shout's helping you go up even more.
Yeah, 100%.
So you said that he's better at log press, you're better at Atlas. What's some of your best lifts?
So my best Atlas stone lift is 286 kilograms. So that's like max Atlas stone. So that's obviously the Atlas balls over a 4.5 foot kind of bar. I got that this last year, and then also got, I think it's a 430 kilogram deadlift.
Nice.
So that's one of the kind of biggest deadlifts as well. And then probably other lifts are kind of like, you get yokes where you walk with the weight on your back. I think I've done up to like 600, 650 on that. So, yeah, some of the stuff's intense. I mean, you're hitting PBs nearly every day, because every competition is different. I mean, like World's Strongest Man is different to Arnold's. Arnold's is the heaviest comp in the world, and you could be walking with 700k on your back, and then 3 weeks later walking with 500. So you need to get your body and your nervous system so tuned in that, like, I mean, I picked up 600k on my back, and I think it cut my spine too and got me smaller 2 inches because that was heavy, man. But yeah, I think the heaviest thing I've lifted, like, that's really made me kind of like nearly bleed and my body shut down was the 286 stone. I doubled it. I did it in training. I did 2 reps of it. But then after, my whole body just shut down for like a week. I couldn't train. I was just shaking all the time. But it was a good buzz. It was worth it. But Jesus, man, my body took a kind of bad turn after that.
That is absolutely wild. Tom, what would be like your normal training breakdown be like during the week?
Yeah, so basically Monday would be kind of a back day, the deadlifts, etc. Tuesday would be upper body. That would be the kind of, it would either be log press or kind of push press. Wednesday would be a recovery day, so that's when we would do like the physio, hot and cold treatment, and all that kind of stuff. And then Thursday would be legs, and then Friday would be another upper body day. Depending what I did on Tuesday, we just turn it around. And then and then Saturday would be like event day, so that would be just if I've got a strongman comp coming up and there's 5 events in it, that's the day I would train those events specifically for that. And then Sunday again is a recovery day. So I mean, I'm in the gym 5 days a week, but Monday to Friday is kind of just normal, like an hour and a half, 2-hour sessions. But it's a Saturday, the event day, you're there for maybe 4 or 5 hours. We try and make it like a competition kind of, environment where you're at a competition for about 6 hours. We're training for 6 hours. So that's the day that's not a good day to be.
How much, you mentioned your like recovery day, your physio day, how much like do you focus on recovery and stretching and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm still quite young in the sport, I didn't really ever kind of do any recovery or stretching, and took that, didn't really think much of it. But yeah, since kind of getting bigger and like stronger, it's possibly been more important to me than it has been training. There's been weeks when I've trained like 2 days in a week running up to comps, but then I've had like physio 5 days in that week, and the difference, I mean, prior to lockdown on Worlds, I was getting physio 3 times a week, but recovery for me is so important. I mean, we've got hot and cold tubs at the gym as well, so we try and do that maybe every second night. Like I said, physio definitely Wednesdays and Sundays usually, and then just as much sleep and kind of rest as we can. But on our rest days, we tend to just rest. So like when people say rest days, usually they'll go out and about and move around and stuff. I just sit on my couch, chill out as much as I can, and just don't really kind of use any energy up. So.
I think recovery is very underutilized probably. Even for me, I probably don't stretch or rest enough, but especially in a sport like yours, where there's that much weight going through your body every day, like your joints, your muscles, your CNS is getting wrecked. Like recovery for you is probably more important than a lot of other sports.
Yeah, definitely, because like you said, the CNS, everything just, I mean, when you're lifting like say 300 for reps nearly most days, and then trying to then repeat that the next day, you need to recover. And like I said, like I'm doing like CBD sprays, just trying to get as much recovery as I can, getting that extra 1%. I mean, I've done kind of heavy recovery methods you can, the oxygen tanks, everything. But for me, hot and cold works the best. It just, I don't really know what it does. It just, for me, numbs all my muscles and puts me to like, it just takes all the inflammation out of my muscles and makes my recovery kind of that 5-10% better. And yeah, but recovery and strongman is, I mean, fighting as well, because you got fighters up here, and I've kind of trained with them before, and holy crap, they can train, like they're conditioned to fuck. And the guys like up here when they fight, we've done some recovery with them, and they they recover hard. Like I thought I was recovering hard, and you see them, you're like, Jesus, man, they have like 6 naps a day.
Who have you been training with?
I think it's Ross Houston.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, he's really up for his recovery, and like, fuck me, man. I thought they just fight, and then he fights. He trains, goes away, trains. And like, you're training like 3 or 4 times a day, but that's because his recovery's so good. You know, people always say this thing about overtraining, but I mean, if you can recover and go in and perform as good as you can in the morning and do it, you know, so they're just really good at recovering. But I think fighters, strongman, MMA fighters, all that kind of stuff, it's so important that the recovery's kind of on point.
Yeah, like we train with Ross sometimes. He's a good guy. He comes down to comes down to train. I think one of the quotes I heard is like, I don't necessarily believe this quote, but it kind of goes back to what you're saying. It's like there's no such thing as overtraining. It's just being under recovered.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because I mean, I've like strongman's a good example as well, because like World's Strongest Man's a 5-day event, and you could be doing you could be squatting nearly every day in that competition, you know. And if you did overtrain, then you should be getting weaker and weaker. Like at World's Strongest Man, I did Atlas Stone runs 3 times. So to think you're like, oh well, he's done stones in his first day, he's going to be crap this second, third day, but it's how you recover through the first day to the second day to the third day. And yeah, if you're under recovery, if you like stay up till 1, 2 in the morning, 2 hours sleep, eat shit, then you're gonna wake up the next day and perform crap. So yeah, it is just recovery. Like,
tell us more about the hot cold stuff you're doing. Like, what is it exactly you're doing?
Yeah, so I mean, we just started we do it in just kind of like, obviously we have a cold tub and a hot tub in the gym, but since this lockdown thing's gone and like the mental you know, the suicide rates and everything's up, Luke kind of started to do it in the beach. So what we kind of do most mornings is just go out at 6 a.m. and just go to a beach and just go out and swim in a beach for 10, 15 minutes every morning. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have tried it before, but
like, I've never tried it. Like, I've always been quite skeptical, because I'm like, I don't know if it's gimmicky, but you're selling me on it here.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I'm like you. Like, I thought it was a myth, and like, how the hell can, when you go in a cold water, your body feels good? Like, I didn't get that, because when I go in hot water, it feels shit. So I was just like, it can't. But yeah, like, I tried it, like, I think it was a year ago at Worlds, and I've been obsessed with it since. I mean, like, inflammation goes down, but like, it feels like you're on a drug. I mean, we have a few guys up here that used to kind of take a lot of drugs, drink, and he's been doing the cold therapy for 30 days straight, and he's not touched a drink or drug, and he said it's like the best kind of drug he's ever taken. As soon as you come out of the water, your eyes just, like, you're focused, your eyes are just open, and it just sets you up for the day, and it changed people's lives. But for me, it's like, yeah, man, it's unbelievable. You can't explain it, you have to do it. But like, I don't know if you've heard of Wim Hof.
Yeah,
I mean, like, I watched him as well, and like, I've done some of his breathing stuff, and it's oh my god, like, I passed out when I was doing his breathing exercise. I ended up, like, he was saying, if you do this breathing thing right, you can hold your breath for 4 or 5 minutes. I held it for 4.5 minutes, fell asleep. My missus had to wake me up, and I was like, I wasn't even gasping for air. So like, it's incredible what the cold can do to you, and especially for, like, I mean, the contact sport, like in the fighting and this, like the lifting the weights, your recovery will go up, that extra kind of gear. When I started doing it, I could train harder, longer, and yeah, the recovery was unbelievable. The sleep you get afterwards is incredible, man. It's unbelievable, and it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, people do all these kind of, like, all these kind of high-tech recovery kind of stuff, but I mean, if you have a sea near you and then have a hot shower, that's hot and cold, you know. It's as easy as that, and anybody can do it, but it's unbelievable. It's changed a lot of people's lives up here, and it's certainly helped me in strongman. So
I think you've probably got both of us going to try this now.
yeah, 100%. you'll hate every minute of it being in there. But if you can go in for like even 6 minutes and then do it for a week, I think it'll up your kind of recovery game when you go back to fighting as well, 100%. Like so.
Tom, so like, what's your diet like on a daily basis? I've kind of been interested, like,
Jesus,
what that would entail.
So I'll kind of give you a rough day. So I'll give you like an event day because that's more interesting. So I'll probably wake up and have 10 eggs, 4 bits of bacon and 4 sausages, and then like 300 grams of cereal. Well, that's my first meal of the day. And second meal would be like a protein shake and some fruit. And then third meal would be then like 400 grams of meat. So any kind of meat I wanted with a kind of carb sauce, like a whole potato, a whole bag of rice, whatever kind of, and some veg. And then, so say I train at 6 o'clock. So then my next meal will then be another like protein shake and like 4 donuts. And then, yeah, donuts is the key. And then I get a pre-workout kind of cheat meals every time I train. So that's usually burger and chips. I'll have that like 2 hours before the gym, and that kind of fuels you through the session. And then after the gym, it then goes back to what I usually had at lunch. It would just be like 2 lots of meat. But yeah, it's intense. I get quite a lot. Like the dirty food you need to eat the dirty food to kind of keep up the 9-10K calories. I mean, if people can eat 10K clean calories, then Jesus, man, that's impressive because I can't do it.
I think it was Michael Phelps's book when I was younger. I can remember reading that because he was like having to eat 10,000 calories a day just because he was burning that much swimming. And
Yeah.
it was like McDonald's and that he was having to eat just because he found it so hard to keep the cows up.
Well, it's the same with like that Usain Bolt as well. He was said it was chicken nuggets or something that he used to eat. So it's anything that would help. I mean, you're burning more than you're putting in, aren't you? So it's not really.
I think we're jealous because we come from a sport where like we've got to make a specific weight on the day.
Yeah.
So it's like mad. It's like when we're meant to compete optimally, we're actually like reducing our food down, and then you've got to like bring the weight down. Whereas like for you, kind of being able to eat what you want is obviously a bit more beneficial than us having to shrink our body down.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've done some challenges where I've like gone and fought diets for the day, and never ever doing that again, no matter what like money I get, because I did it with some under 110K strongman, and fuck, man. Like I thought they could eat, but geez, man, it was like 4 eggs in the morning, and it was just all this. Oh my days.
Do you find it hard to eat all that though? Because I can remember, I think it was the Eddie Hall documentary I watched on Netflix. He was basically talking about like one of the reasons why he felt he had to give up strongman is he found it that hard to kind of eat the food to maintain the size he would need to be an elite strongman.
Yeah, 100%. It goes for me. It goes the easiest is training, second recovery, and food's the hardest part. Like I can tell you now, like there'll probably be at least 2 days in a week that I'll miss like 2 meals just because I can't be bothered eating, or I have to force myself. I mean, like my last meal was like 11 p.m. at night, and to think that you're putting 400 grams of meat down you and like a whole potato or rice at that late at night, you're like, Jesus, this is hard. So, yeah, 100%. I have to force myself to eat 80% of the time, and it's not enjoyable at all. So.
How much do you weigh, mate? Like, what weight are you trying to maintain?
Yeah, so at Worlds I was 180 kilograms. I dropped to 168, which was my lightest in a while, but now I'm back up to 181K. So right now I'm sitting at the heaviest ever been in my life. So for me it's easier because I'm like 6'8". I can maintain, like I can hold a lot more weight. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Eddie when he won Worlds and did that 500. He looked like massive, but he looked unfit and like he was going to kind of collapse on the spot. But like the likes of Ford, Brian Shaw, myself, I mean, they were up to 200 kilograms in their prime, and they looked healthy and just were like normal guys, but monsters. So since I've got the height, I can carry more weight as well, which is good.
I think you boys, because you're a bit taller, you've got more of an optimum kind of frame for it.
Yeah, I think 200 plus will be all right for me.
Like, what is that the way you would kind of optimally want to be, do you think?
Well, I mean, what kind of my coaches and nutritionists do is they kind of just, if I'm feeling strong, they'll just keep me here. And I mean, if weight goes on me, weight goes on me. But I don't really kind of check the scales. It's just kind of, if like I said, if I feel strong, then we're doing something right. But yeah, for some comps, I mean, for the comp later I got later on in the year called the Arnolds. That's the heaviest one in the world. So that's the one you want to be like a mass monster. You want to be like 200k plus because you're basically just standing a. You're not like you're walking 5 meters max. You're not doing like 20, 30 meters like you do at Worlds. So yeah, but I think by the end of this year I'll be 200k plus. So that'll be kind of scary to see.
How much, like you spoke about, like Saturday would be your event day and your training. Out with that, do you do any like cardio or anything else?
So yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I'm one of those kind of drumming. I actually want to kind of keep fit, so I do conditioning. So Wednesdays, that is kind of like the morning of its active recovery. So before lockdown, obviously, I was getting conditioning circuits done. So like the HIIT circuits and stuff, more to kind of in line with what events I had coming up. So yeah, I did. I would do kind of an hour or 45 minutes to an hour of HIIT every week. So yeah, I was getting quite fit, but it's kind of gone back down to square one now because obviously lockdown, nobody can come out. But doing it yourself, that's the thing with training. I can train myself, but to try and do the circuits and that kind of stuff myself, it's a no-go because you can say no easily. And I mean, 30 seconds of doing that kind of stuff's hard, but I can't be bothered doing it this now, but I will do it eventually.
I always say that to Cammy. It's like when you're doing your strength stuff, it's dead easy to do yourself.
Yeah.
But if we're hitting like a hard finisher, like on the ski machine, jumping from the assault bike, and it's high intensity, it's much better if you've got someone beside you just to like, you're like, I can't quit on this, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like, well, me and Luke, the brothers, you know, if he's going hard, I'll push harder and he'll keep pushing. So it makes you feel, you know, your work rate then makes you fitter every week. So it's good. It's a good thing to do.
Tom, so like 2019 was probably kind of like a big breakout for you when you came fifth at the Worlds. At that point, when you come fifth in 2019, I take it that's been cemented in your head. You're like, I've got a real good chance of winning this in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing is in that as well. I turned up to that competition with no suitcase. My suitcase didn't turn up to the competition with me. So kind of having massive feet as well, and to get all the gear and to still finish fifth. Yeah, I was like, well, if I can do that with kind of none of my own stuff, then yeah, I'm gonna kind of do better the next year, and you know that's what I did. But yeah, to come fifth with none of my gear, I was shocked as well because I was like, Jesus, man.
I think you never got your bag back.
Yeah, it didn't even leave Inverness Airport. They were saying, oh, it went to Amsterdam, it was too heavy to get on the plane, but I got back and it was there waiting for me. So
to be fair, one of when I was wrestling when I was younger and we used to go to international tournaments, one of the lessons my coach always told me is make sure you put your boots on the hand luggage, but you're not fitting size 17s in hand luggage, so.
I know. I tried. I did that for this World's Strongest Man because that's when Miss was like, "Oh, just take your shoes and your straps and your hand luggage." So I did that this time, but luckily everything came. But yeah, size 17s take up 3/4 of the hand luggage.
Right, mate, so then it gets to 2020, the end of last year, we went and came second. Massive achievement. You also won 3 out of 6 events, which I think is very cool. Like out of half the events in the final, you've won them all.
Yeah, I mean, so going into 2020 Worlds, obviously, I was wanting the podium. You know, third place was my kind of in my head is what I wanted to do, especially after the year we had. You know, the lockdown, and we were getting told nearly every week, "Oh, Worlds is here, Worlds is here, Worlds is here." So to train to like peak for like it was meant to be July, so to peak for that, and then getting told a week before, "Oh, it's not until August." Peak there, and then it's like, well, Jesus, it's going to happen. So yeah, so then when I went out there, it was all strange, obviously, because we had to get we had 3 COVID tests a day, every day. We were locked in our kind of hotel, and we were just like, geez, this isn't World's Strongest Man. This is like a prison, you know. It's can't even go out and do nothing. But for me, I think that worked in my favor because back home, that's what I kind of just do is go out to the gym, come home, and that's what I do. So not having really people around me to kind of distract me was a good thing. And yeah, I had a kind of hard group. I mean, I had 3 of the best stone lifters in the world in it, and that's when the only kind of time in my head I was like, crap, if I get in the stone off, this could be a really, really kind of hard moment for me. But, you know, I kept my cool and then did what I did at the Stones and getting to the final and, like you said, winning 3 events. I was obviously expected to win the Stones, so that wasn't a kind of shock. But the keg toss, Brian Shaw's really, really good at that. And, you know, I kind of just said to myself, I just need to throw these as hard as I can. If they go over, they go over. And I did that and won that. But the biggest shock to me was the log. I mean, my logs got good, but there were so many good pressures there. And for me, just to be kind of me and Jerry pitched it, the only 2 guys to finish the logs. And for me to do it in the fastest time was a massive shock. And I think that helped me get onto the podium because obviously the first event I did a wee fumble and it slipped out my hand. Hercules is a crap event no matter what. But yeah, so to still kind of come back from those 2 slip-ups and still come second I thought it was a great feeling.
Tom, how do you deal with like pre-comp nerves and stuff? I assume you still get nervous for competitions. What do you have any rituals or things you do before a comp?
Yeah, 100% get nervous because I mean, especially I think I'm getting more nervous now just because obviously like when you get kind of better at the sport, you're expected to do good in every single competition you do, and you know going into worlds all over. So like I kind of like a day or 2 before, I kind of stay away from social media because all you see on social media is like maybe Tom Stoltman's this or he's going to place here. And if you start programming that in your head and then you go out to a comp and don't do well or you do, you know, it's match up. So I kind of usually I just kind of go over to where I'm going, try and chill out with the guys, you know, and just stay relaxed, stay focused. Don't talk about the competition at all and just switch off from everything that's kind of why you're there and just, like I said, talk about other things and not go on social media and just, you know, just that's what I did at Worlds, not go on social media, chill at the pool and just kept all my energy, like it didn't switch on at all, so chilled out. And I'd kind of learned to do that over the years because the first few years I would always go on social media and say, oh, Tom Stoltman's going to come third. I came 6th and I was like, oh, crap. And then, you know, I don't want to go back on social media now because people are going to be like, I didn't do good. So I've learned to kind of get away from that and just chill out and not like be nervous, but kind of control my nerves. So.
I think social media is a big one that's kind of underestimated now, especially for someone like you that's got a big following. Like, I think you just kind of need to shut off from it because you've got like so many nameless voices being like, Tom Stoltman's going to do well, Tom Stoltman shit, Tom Stoltman's this. You just kind of need to learn to blank out a wee bit, eh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, you've got your haters, you've got your fans, and there's always going to be like Team Tom, where like, oh, Tom's the best in the world. He's so much better than everyone. But then, like, if you believe that and keep, like you said, get that in your head, and then think, oh, I'm the best in the world, and go over somewhere and come forth, you're like, can't. Yeah. So, you know, we got fans, but fans are fans. They're not like dedicate what you're going to come. So that's why I just kind of, yeah, don't kind of do that kind of stuff on social media. I never kind of ever kind of go deep into competition kind of talk on social media.
So kind of moving forward to this year, Tom, you obviously you've came second now, so you would want to win it. Like who you see as your main rivals moving forward? You've obviously got Novikov won it last year. Who else do you see this year as your main competition to stop you winning?
Yeah, so obviously Novikov and then Matthias Kulakowski, the Polish boy. He was out this year because he tore his tricep, but yeah, he's dangerous. He's come second. He was second in 2019 and 2018, I think. But I mean, all 3 of us. I mean, Novikov's 24, Kulakowski's 28 now, and I'm 26. So it's going to be great battles. But I think those 2 guys right now will be the kind of the hurdle for me to get over to get to number 1. But again, with World's Strongest Man, it all kind of depends on events as well. That's kind of the advantage and disadvantage of World. You know, you could go into World's Strongest Man and be like, every single one of these events are good for me, so I should lose. But I know that if every event's good for me, that nobody will beat me on my day. But again, all my weaknesses are getting up and like, but yeah, Novikov and Kulakowski, they're going to be dangerous all year. So I need to kind of stay on my A game for every comp I do.
You spoke about like you mentioned that guy having an injury. What's like what some of the worst injuries you've dealt with?
Touch wood, I've actually never ever had an injury. I think that's just because going back to like the recovery side, I looked after my body. I came into the sport when the kind of recovery side of the game started getting up, and I just kind of started getting the physios and stuff. Like, I mean, it was Eddie Hall that's told me, you know, if you want to be, it was like a year and a half ago. He said, you know, you need, I know you're young and stuff, but if you want to be good at this sport, you really need to get your recovery nailed. If you slip and if you like take a shortcut of that, you're going to be out of the sport for a long time if something happens. And that's kind of just stuck to me because I mean, tearing your tricep off the bone, I couldn't imagine what that's like. And he was 26, and I've seen someone drop an Atlas stone in their leg and it snapped the wrong way, and then he had to get his leg was in a cage, and I was like, that nearly put me off stones because I was like, wow, you know, it's just stuff like that. But luckily, being in the sport this long, I've not kind of had any kind of things like that. Just trapped my fingers in a weight. That's the worst thing I've had. So, but there's some stuff you see in real life like is scary. I mean, that leg thing with the Atlas stone, when he was up on his heels, it just snapped. And you think you'd only ever see that on like YouTube videos, but to see it in real life, you were like, whoa, like this is actually a serious sport and a really dangerous sport as well, because he didn't do anything wrong. It's just, he just kind of buckled under the pressure. So.
Because like there was a guy I knew who was like a big kind of power lifter. Like he was squatting a big weight, like it was something ridiculous. It was like you're talking, I can't even remember, but it was like a big squats. And when he was coming back up he essentially just tore the quads right off the muscle, right off the bone. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just horrendous.
There's a lot of stuff for that in the sport, but luckily I've not had that yet. But you're like kneecaps, quads, hamstrings, but nah, I don't even want to think of that.
So something I was thinking about, obviously last year there wasn't a lot of sport going on. Do you think your achievement of coming second in World's Strongest Man went kind of under the radar too much? Because I feel that's probably one of the best achievements by any Scottish sports person probably in the last 2-3 years, and it doesn't seem to have gotten the coverage maybe it should have.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought that, like, yeah, for me it has kind of gone under the radar, especially because from where I'm from as well, you know, it's in the Highlands. I mean, I don't think, I mean, the Highlands has got 5,000 people, so I don't think like in the whole of the kind of this Highlands anyone's ever kind of seen what this done before. So when I got home, I had a lot of kind of the press and that over me, but it wasn't ever as much as I ever thought it would be. It was the local newspapers, maybe BBC Sport and stuff. But yeah, like you said, it's kind of, I think the COVID thing's kind of hit it under the radar a bit, but then it did reboost it when it went on TV. I think when people see it on TV, that's when your profile goes up again. And once it kind of went on air on the TV, that's when it kind of, I think people realised, oh, this is kind of a big thing, because that's when a lot more people kind of started getting in touch with me, more sponsor opportunities then. But it's kind of annoying it took that long for them to kind of realise, oh, this guy's just come second and one of the biggest.
Because even if you look at like 2019, like you come in fifth in the world, then this year second, like how many Scottish athletes do we have at any sport that are that good? Like, you're talking top 5, top 2 in the world. We don't have many. So I just think it's a bit mad that people aren't getting behind you, considering it's very rare that we have Scottish people that good.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the people that are getting behind me are more the massive names, and like, I mean, like, you know, Drew McIntyre from WWE. I mean, like, he had never heard of me or Luke before, and then it's like what you said when he listened and said, "Oh, the 2 guys from Scotland have just done something amazing." He then kind of reached out, and that's kind of like, he's massive in WWE. So to even do that, to have time, and then obviously Ranger as well coming to me and like saying, "Oh, well done." So it's kind of the massive people, and then like the big celebrities are kind of coming, but it's the more the local or the kind of I don't want to be sound rude, but like the people that are just normal guys and stuff, normal ladies, normal men, they're not like doing much. But it's the more, what I've seen is more like the big celebrity guys. Drew McIntyre one was big because like I watched WWE, and to even have someone from Scotland to be so kind of well known in the world to then say, look, this guy from Scotland, he's done amazing. Guys get behind him. It's a cool thing to have. But I wish more people kind of did see it. And I think Stoltman's still not a well-known sport either. You know, it is getting bigger now, but it's still kind of, a lot of people still don't know what it is. You know,
I think that's one of the things I was going to ask as well. Like, I think the point, I can remember Strongman, I felt was at its biggest when it was like Pudzianowski, like Zafikis,
100%,
like Derek Poundstone and stuff, whereas it seems to be, it took a dip, but I can feel it starting to take a rise again. Like, where do you see Strongman right now?
Strongman right now is probably, right now it's maybe at its biggest. I think Eddie Hall saved it when he won Worlds in 2017. That's when it was going down. I mean, like, but then when he won it, it's kind of, I mean, you're talking like, we're having maybe 9-10 arena shows a year, which would have never been possible. It's coming to Glasgow, Scotland, Giants Live, which, you know, it's an incredible thing to kind of, that is getting, branching around the UK more now. But like, the promoters do so much promoting and so well at selling tickets, and it's mad because 15,000 arena stadiums sell out all the time, but still people don't really understand the kind of value of like winning worlds or doing this, doing that, you know. So it's weird. It's a weird thing. Whereas, you know, football, you kind of like have local football teams that are taking like 50,000, 30,000 people. You're like, geez, this is Ross County Football Club. This is Cali, and you know. So it's just a sport for us. I think, you know, Strongman's not in the like much limelight as it is in, you know, rugby and football and stuff, you know. So
what obviously winning the world's strongest man, what would your biggest accomplishments in the sport be? Obviously coming second at the world's strongest man, but what else would you say people should look into?
I think the world record Atlas stone, the 286, just because, I mean, I broke it twice last year, and the record before me was 255. So I think, yeah, so to break it by over 30k is a massive kind of margin. And then I think winning also my first Scotland's strongest man, because Luke had won it 5 times, and I could not let him win it even longer. So like, I'm being the Scotland's strongest man the last 2 years. So those 2 titles are nice because, I mean, I'm from Scotland and you want to be the, you know, the strongest in your country. So again, I'm proud of them ones. And then I think just even coming second in Britain's, the start of 2020 in January was nice ones. Obviously, I had bigger goals in 2021, but COVID mucked it. But yeah, those are kind of the biggest achievements for me right now in the sport. So, and I've not even been in this. I've not been in the sport too long either, but I've just got a lot more experience than other things. But the world record and worlds are the 2 that probably topped it right now.
I think I read somewhere, did you attempt 303 on the Atlas stone?
Yeah, but it kind of, with who we usually get the stone from, something happened, so I had to get it made local, and it crumbled before I kind of even lifted it, so it didn't really work. But I got 300k. 300k will be there. I've lifted it up in training, but I just need the kind of right time and right place to do it, you know. It'd be cool to do it in Glasgow. I was trying to get it arranged in Glasgow in October. That would be quite cool if there's crowd there. So
I think when you're doing stuff like that, like, it's definitely, if you're going to lift a 300 kilo Atlas stone, you're wanting thousands of people that are shouting at you.
Yeah, because the 286, I was confident doing that because I knew I could do it. But, you know, 300 is the next level. I mean, that's kind of going into, like, for me, as impressive as the 500k deadlift that Eddie did. I don't think anybody will touch the world record Atlas stone that I've got, but I think it will be blown out the water if I hit a 300 Atlas stone. But I don't think any, like, I mean, 300 kg on a deadlift bar is hard, but then 300 in a ball of steel, a ball of concrete is like near much impossible, you know.
Well, I can remember hitting a 195 deadlift, and I thought it was impressive, and you're talking about like 300 as if it's nothing.
For a fighter and that, you know.
Yeah. Obviously, we're coming from more of a fighting background. Obviously, that's something I'd be interested in. Like, you've got the likes of Pudzianowski kind of getting into like KSW fighting MMA, and God knows what's happening with Eddie Hall fighting them. And I actually don't know what's happening with that. Ken, what's your opinion on these guys getting into fighting, boxing? God knows what Eddie Hall and that are doing.
Marius Pudzianowski is a good, because obviously he's made a career out of it now, you know, and he did what he wanted in Strongman and then found a new career in MMA, and by God, he was good at it. He was scary in that cage as well, so he could beat some people with that. But for me, the Eddie Hall and Thor fight is it's like people said. I mean, it is a fight, but calling it a boxing match, I don't really know, because that would be kind of like them going into an MMA arena and calling it an MMA fight where people like have worked like 8-9 years to get to that kind of stage. But apart from that, I think for me it's great for strongman because it puts another like 100,000, 200,000 people to that sport. What they've done to their bodies as well is unbelievable. I mean, Eddie was close to kind of heart attacks, nearly losing his life after that deadlift, to then now see him with like a six-pack, still weighing maybe 155, 160k, and to kind of then be obsessed and train for something else is quite cool. I don't know what can happen. I mean, Force had an expedition fight, so I mean, money talks at the end of the day, doesn't it? You're getting 3-4 million quid to fight an ex-strongman, or stay at strongman and win 50k. It's kind of, the money's the big thing.
I think that's the big thing why the YouTubers and that are boxing in the minute as well. It's like if you have any sort of platform or following and you can go and sell X amount of pay-per-views, like if you're Eddie Hall or Fall, you're not going to turn however many million they're getting to fight each other. It's like, it's too good. And like, fair play to them. Like, I know people get annoyed being like, oh, they're not fighters, but if you're bringing a big following who are going to buy your show, like, fair play, go and make the money.
Yeah, like I said, everyone that's probably said they're not fighters will probably tune in and watch it and stuff. And, it's amazing. It's great for boxing, like you said. It's great for strawman. And it's just two guys that actually hate each other in real life that are going to beat the shit out of each other, and they may the best man win. But that's beef that is actually real. So.
Is the beef real?
Yeah. Eddie wants to knock himself under that kind of ring. Yeah, the beef's real. So.
It's always hard to tell if it's manufactured or not. Like, but that's a good question. I've been involved. What's it like in the strongman scene? Like, is it friendly, or is there kind of an undercurrent of beef there?
No, it's a big family. Every single person you kind of compete with is always. There is always maybe one or two kind of arguments here and there, but it's never anything serious. I mean, you do the show, you argue, but then afterwards you're drinking with each other, you're partying. But yeah, the Eddie and Thor thing happened through World's Strongest Man 2017. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a piss take, but yeah, it's not. Like I've seen Eddie talk about it, and I'm like, Jesus, man, that's just scaring me the way you're talking about it. But yeah, he's ready to kill. That's all I can say, man. Jesus. That's probably the Eddie and Thor thing's probably the most real like hate I've seen in strongman. You get like I don't know if you've seen the Eddie and Robert Oberst thing before, when like Eddie's eating an apple and taking the piss out of Oberst, and Oberst taking the piss out of British guys and that, and that's just all kind of an act for the kind of audience and stuff. But the Thor and Eddie thing is the most real I've seen in strongman.
You mentioned doing a bit of work with Ross Houston. Do you think fighting's in your future after strongman?
Ross has been trying to get me to fight for ages, but yeah, to honest, I've always kind of half planned it in like the off season just for fitness and stuff, and I had a few mates that done it, and that's probably one sport I enjoy watching on the TV, whether it's boxing or MMA, and it would be one sport that would be cool to kind of see if I could be like a good heavyweight at it and see what kind of I'd be like in the ring, So yeah, it'd be a bit of fun, but I don't want to get my face back. That's what but yeah, it's like I've done stuff, like I said, against with Ross and stuff, and even just seen like he's so light, but the speed and the kind of how many punches he can throw and stuff, it's frightening, But yeah, it'd be a nice wee change of kind of scenery, like I said, finish strongman and then try and get look into it first and see how good he is, and then I'll see it from there.
Cammy, have you got anything else for Tom?
Just more fight chat. Who's some of your favourite fighters to watch if you're a fan of boxing and MMA?
So with boxing, I kind of like Tyson Fury. Yeah. Tyson Fury's he's just a big nutter that goes into the ring and doesn't take shit and just puts his he talks the talk and walks the walk. That's what I said about him. He's he doesn't look like a fighter, but I love how he just kind of goes into the ring and shuts every single person up.
Do you think he beats Joshua?
Yeah, that's another one I like Joshua as well, but I think Fury might take him. Fury just doesn't want to go down. I think Fury's just a bit, he's one of those traveller guys that just doesn't know when to stop, does he? So it'll be a good fight. It'll be a close fight.
I just think, for me, I actually like Joshua and Fury, but I think Joshua probably doesn't get enough credit for how good a boxer he is. But
yeah, Joshua's really good.
Like Joshua, like conventionally, is a really good boxer. Like everyone's technical, he's fast and he's strong. But I just think Fury's going to be just too much from everywhere. Like too unorthodox.
It's just the way Fury moves around.
if Fury wants, he can just move around him for 12 minutes and Joshua won't hit him. But I think if he fights the way he did in the Wilder second fight, he could also just get in about Joshua and fight inside and stop him. But I like both of them, but I do think Fury beats him pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I like both of them as well, but I think Fury, the way the Fury moves around and stuff, man, he doesn't look like a boxer at all. It's like putting me into the ring and started dangling my arms around. But that's what I kind of think I would be like.
Mad about Fury, he's one of these guys that people would look at him and say he's not an athlete, but if you look at his speed, look at his power, look at his movement, he's a super athlete.
Yeah, and he's really fit. I've seen some of his lives he's done and some of his fitness kind of things he's done, and Jesus, man, the guy can do hit like it's going out of fashion. I'm like, fuck it hell, man. He does it easy and he just does it with a smile and he's not even breaking a sweat. I'm like, this guy's fit. People just judge because he's got a belly on him, but he's a really fit athlete, yeah.
Crossing over to MMA, who's some of your favourite MMA fighters to watch?
MMA, who's that guy that's he's like he goes like that with his hands, the Cobra guy, whatever he's called, the bald. He beat who's he not? The guy, just a big massive. He did a big knee to the guy and knocked him out.
Yoel Romero.
Yeah. He's one of the good guys. I don't really know their names, but yeah, I've watched him. I watched that Conor McGregor one just passed. That was quite I was a shock, to be honest with you.
That's the point.
It was a kind of boring fight, but so I just I don't really support anyone in the MMA. I just love watching the big fights. It's that's what I was saying about the other sports. I've kind of I love watching football, but on football on TV for me is boring, and I like being there, like the Rangers game, for example. But MMA on TV you feel like you're there, and I love the buzz. See a few mates round and watching big pay-per-view fights is unbelievable. But yeah, I like some of the kind of big fights like the Conor McGregor's been in. I don't know, that kind of unbeaten guy. He's the skinny kind of black guy, the baldy one that does all those.
Maybe
that's the one. Yeah, then he's freaky, man. That's one of the guys that I follow, and Jesus, man, he's not right. That's why he's scary to go into the ring with. But just I love MMA. It's just an entertaining sport. No matter what level you're at, So even your guys like Ross Houston and stuff. I've watched his fight. Not the one he lost in, but the one before where it was a draw and there was blood everywhere. Yeah. Fights like that, you're like, Jesus, man, that's what you want to be part of, So
I'd say that's one good thing about strongman and fighting. It's a very kind of primal thing, because if you're watching it, you want to see someone lift heavy and see how heavy they can lift. And if you're watching fighting, you want to see who's the best fighter and who's going to knock out the guy or submit the guy. Thing there's similarities and a primal aspect about watching stuff like that.
Yeah, and also you respect each other as well, because every athlete in strongman respects you being there because it knows what your body's going through. And the same with fighting, probably as well, unless there's hate. But I'm assuming with fighting, everyone gets up, shakes their hands, and you're beating each other up in the ring, but you know what you've done to put your body through that and stuff. And that's kind of the respect in those sports. Whereas football and rugby, it's kind of 11v11, playing football and going off and hating each other. But that strongman and fighting, that's why I like it, because there's so much respect between the two camps and between the people. So, well, unless I'm wrong, I don't know about fighting, but
I've probably only ever had one person I would say I have no respect for, and I wouldn't have spoke to them after the fight. But and all so saying having 20 odd fights and hundreds of wrestling matches and grappling matches, there's probably only one occasion I'd say I actually dislike someone.
Yeah, okay.
Good going, to be fair. And Tom, he was a Celtic fan, mate, so he deserved it.
Well, that's all right.
Anything else for Tom, Cammy, or we'll let him get away?
I think that was us. That was really good, man. That was really nice.
That was brilliant, mate. Definitely very insightful. You've got us bloody in hot and cold showers in the morning.
Yeah, you better be. Everybody here's listening. You better do it. Like, I'll be checking up.
we'll meet Instagram and tag in or something.
Yeah, man, 100%. That'd be cool. Like.
We'll need to get you down to Glasgow, and we can, me and you can get a beer when the world's most successful football team secure 55.
Mate, George Square. I'll be there.
Which could happen in 2-3 weeks. So it could be coming.
Yeah, man, I'll be there waiting in George Square. You just have to look over everyone and you'll see me.
Cheers for that, Tommy. That was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes, mate. Definitely a very exciting episode there.
That was brilliant,
I think we'll call that a wrap since we got a good hour there. Definitely really insightful by Tom. If any guys have got any topics for us to discuss at the end of our interviews in the next couple of podcasts, give us a shout, because we're looking for topics to discuss after we've got our guests on. Cam, have you got anything to say to finish?
No, it's brilliant. Looking forward to the next podcast.
Right, guys, that was Gold Medal Mindset episode 3 with Tom Stoltman, and we will catch you guys later.